Okay, so now you know how to install some basic stuff in NixOS. Let's start playing around a bit more with channels and versions, and because this is kind of a unique concept to Nix, but a really powerful concept once you kind of understand what's going on. So the first thing is, let's say we're happy here, but you might say, great, how do you update the system? And this might not surprise you, but it's back with NixOS rebuild. So if you do sudo NixOS rebuild, for updates, I always do boot because I don't know if it's going to pull down a new kernel or something like that. Again, you can do switch, but I like doing boot for this. And then -- upgrade. And what that will do is that will go out. Now, obviously, I don't think it's going to pull anything down since we just installed this. But you can go ahead and pull this down, and it will, pull down any updates for the system. So I don't think it's going to find anything here because there's nothing new. But what you can say is, remember we talked about htop. Let's say we're on this channel here. Let's say htop fixes a bug or something like that, right? And it increments to 3.31, right? It's still on this channel. Bug fixes get pulled in here, but not major version updates. And so update will catch those things. So, yep, nothing new happened here. So let's type in something. All right, I'm going to type in something that moves a little bit faster. So let's look at Elixir. So you might see these things. I was talking about channels. So NixOS, you might say, okay, well, is NixOS a rolling distribution, or is it like a point release distribution, right? Is it something like Fedora where there's a new one every 6 months, or is it more like Arch where things are rolling all the time? Cool thing about NixOS is it's both. It's whatever you want. So yes, by default, every 6 months, you can see right now the base channel is 24.05, which will obviously mean it was from May of 2024. We are on the cusp of having 24.11 out. So that's in beta, right? And then there's unstable. And then unstable is the rolling version of it. So it's actually pretty cool, and you can kind of tune to whatever you want here. This is a unique time to do this because the 24.11 is in beta. Usually you'll see the stable channel, and then you'll see the unstable channel here. So what's going on here? So if I can look here, and I can see Elixir, right? And I can see it's version 1.16.3, right? But if I switch over to unstable, and unstable and beta will be the same thing right now. But if I do unstable, I can see it's version 1.17. So again, how bleeding edge do you want to be? And then also switching channels is how you update. So yes, 24.11 is in beta right now. I know once it gets released and everything's good for a couple weeks or something like that, I'll go ahead and switch my systems over to 24.11. So let's quick show you how channels work. So let's go into, of course there's a tool for it. There's sudo nix channel -- list. And this is going to show you the channels. So we have the NixOS channel, which is the base one, and it's pointed to this right here. So let's go ahead and let's do NixOS config. Let's go and throw Elixir. Let's use that as our example here, right? So we can go ahead and we can put in Elixir. Save, sudo NixOS rebuild switch. So it's going to pull this down. Elixir probably has a few dependencies that it pulls down as well. All right. So now if we type in Elixir, oops, what is it, V? Yeah. So we'll see, yep, sure enough, we're in Elixir 1.16, right? And, the channel I am on is this stable channel. Well, let's say I want the new stuff, right? Mike, how do I get the new stuff? All right. So all you're going to do is sudo nix channel and then add. And then I'm just going to copy this link really. Whoops. Things are a little bit goofy in this VM. All right. So instead of 24.11, I can just change this to unstable. And then space NixOS. So what this is saying, I want to add this channel to this name, right? So I go ahead and add that. And now I do list. I can see that here I am on NixOS unstable. So I'll go ahead and now that's it. So now I'm tuned to that channel. So now when I do a sudo NixOS rebuild, again, I'm going to do boot on this because I don't know if it's going to pull down a new kernel when I switch to unstable. Again, you could do switch if you want to. I'm just going to do boot for this. And yeah, let's do that. Oh, help if I type rebuild right. So what this is going to do is it's going to pull down the stuff from the latest channel. And this should pull in a lot more stuff. Oh, you know what? Didn't do that. Right, I forgot. I have to update my channel. So let's update the channel. So it's going to unpack the channels. Well, yeah, when you switch channels, you just need to do a sudo nix channel update. So it's going to go ahead, and this can take a while, but or not. So NixOS rebuild boot. There we go. So now you see it's going to pull down a lot of stuff. And I think if I did -- upgrade, I think it would have automatically refreshed my channel as well. So it's going to go ahead and pull this down. But again, what's really neat about this, I think, is that basically I'm updating. I'm switching now. Like right now in the background, I can still use my computer. We can still do stuff. And in the background, I'm literally switching from a stable, like Ubuntu Fedora type point release to a more Arch type rolling release. Like literally in the background, that is happening. And that's pretty cool. And I'm going to show you where versions come into play too. The NixOS, they call them generations. So yeah, so let's type in files here. And let's say in my home directory, I'm just going to do a new like folder called, you know, temp stuff. Yeah, like I said, that's going to pull down a lot of stuff. Temp stuff, and then test one. And I'm going to show you why I'm doing this here. Okay, so now I have test one in my temp stuff. This is still pulling down stuff again because what I'm doing, I switch channels. I'm not just switching the channel for Elixir. I'm literally switching everything. So my GNOME is being updated. In fact, let's see what version of GNOME that we're at right here. So about. So does it say it here? No, it's going to say it here. So OS build, yeah, see this is 24.05, and yep, GNOME 46, Linux kernel 666. All right, cool. So there we go. So again, what you're going to see is that I just rebuilt that, but Elixir-V, I'm still going to have 1.16, but that's because I did it on boot. So let's reboot real fast and see. So I literally just switched the entire operating system to a rolling release for all the cutting edge packages. And so let's go ahead and see. I mean, this is a, it's kind of a crazy thing that only NixOS people can do, I feel like. So let's go ahead and log in. And voila, everything is good. So yeah, let's see, what were we on? GNOME 46 before? Yep, so now we're on GNOME 47. So yeah, that definitely worked. And let's go into the terminal And now our Elixir is 1.17. And so if I do the NixOS channel list, you can see I'm on unstable. So again, so literally, if you like to run like on the cutting edge, you don't want to do version updates, you just always want to keep it rolling, you can literally just stay on NixOS unstable and do NixOS rebuild update, like this. Or is it upgrade? You can literally just do that forever, and you will just always be on the cutting edge of stuff. So here's what's interesting. Here's what I wanted to show you with versioning. So that's how channels work. So as you can see, we didn't change anything inside of our config to say, oh, we want GNOME 47, not 46, or we want this version of Elixir or whatever. That depended on the config didn't change. What can change was the channel that we switched to. And the cool thing is that, and I've done this too, because I've been running NixOS for like 3 years. I used to run the unstable channel all the time. And of course, it's called unstable for a reason. And anyone that's been on a rolling release like Tumbleweed or Arch or something like that knows that sometimes it bites you. That's why it's called unstable. And if that's the case, not only could you just roll back to a different version in your boot menu, but you can literally switch your channel back to the stable one, rebuild, and then everything is there. So there's some cool things that I want to show you here. So remember I put in, so my temp stuff, right? So here's my test one, right? Now let's do touch test2.txt. Now the reason I'm doing this is, right, so I made test 1 during my last version, and I did test 2 during this version. So let's say I updated to unstable, I'm working, I added files and everything, and things are good, right? Well, let's say reboot. Let's say something goes wrong, right? Like, uh-oh. You know, unstable bit me, maybe I'm not ready for this version or whatever. You can go into NixOS config, and I'll just go back one version. And look, you can see there's 24.05 and then there's 25.05. So you can see that's the big change there. So let me go back into here. Now, if you're thinking that these generations were snapshots, right, my test2 file wouldn't be there, right? Because remember, I just created that in the new system. But I've just rolled back, and I'm using rolled back because really I didn't roll back. All I did was relink all that stuff from the Nix store, right? So now if I go to, let me go to my files, and well, first let's make sure that I am back, sure enough, on the old version. So this should say GNOME 46. Yep, so I'm back on the old version of GNOME, right? And my temp stuff, sure enough, see, I have both files. So this is what's cool. This is part of my NixOS talk that I did, is that generations are a lot better than snapshots. So if this was a snapshot system that like encapsulated everything, what would happen if I rolled back to an old snapshot is I would lose the work that I did, you know, since then. But that's not the case here, and that's really, really cool. So yeah, that is the, you know, the lowdown on this type of stuff. So I'm booted into this, like, and again, I can switch my channel back to stable if I wanted to. If I just like, hey, I don't want to go on unstable anymore. And then Nix store. So if you're curious, how does it do that? So let's do, remember we did this before. So here you go. Here's how it does it. That Nix store, like I said, everything's in there. It's like the kitchen sink of everything that's in your system. And you can see I have both Elixir 1.16 and 1.17 installed. So they're both already in my system. The difference is which one gets linked here. So that is kind of your crash course on updating your system, switching channels. You can switch to unstable if you want a rolling release, or you can go ahead and you can switch to, you know, again, when the new version comes out, you can go ahead and switch to that as well. So that's all for this video. On the next one, I'm going to get into Flatpaks really fast, and we can take it from there.